I forgot. I had to change the settings. Oopsies. Oopsies, oopsies, oopsies. I said one day we're going to get this down. One day. Just not today. Alright, what is going on, people? This is such an improv stream that I have nothing planned except like 3 things. Also, carpet and chairs don't work, but whatever. But decided to try to get on stream and stream for a second. Obviously it's a Saturday, so obviously we're gonna get some low numbers, but that's okay. But just want to get on, wanted to chat for a second, maybe make some music, you know, get crazy with it. I do have to say, one of the best things about traveling, or one of the things that you don't really realize, is the love for your bed. Like, your bed is just so amazing that once you sleep in hotel after hotel and whatever, it's just like, bro, I just love my bed. Oh, that would have been bad. I almost closed the stream out. Oops. But outside of that, what's poppin'? So 411. Haven't really seen anything with music today. Doing a check. I accidentally messed my feet up again with WWE, so there was, so you gotta clean that up again. Yeah, I'm just scrolling through. Haven't really seen anything music related. Obviously the Timbaland AI artist. I think that's something that I want to talk about a little bit. Just because, again, I feel like every stream that we've done for like the last 2 months has been about AI. And I just feel like, again, I think I've been around the block already for like the last 4 or 5 years now with artists, music, AI, what people feel and think and whatnot. And yeah, I feel like everyone is so 50-50 on AI, especially creatives in music. It's like you either absolutely hate it or you're okay with it, you know, like not fully love it, but you're just like, okay, like I can live with this. So we're gonna look at that in a little bit. So I guess to get my soccer rant out of the way, I gotta say the US men's national team right now is so sad. Like, it's so sad. As a Madrista, watching Arda play was pretty great, and just seeing how great he was leading the line was pretty phenomenal. But man, the US team is like, oh my god. Like, it's just one of those things to where I just wish that the US Federation wouldn't have a deal with freaking MLS to have some sort of quota to play, because it's so dumb. Everything about it is just dumb. Um, the only good players that were on the pitch were Tillman, Chris Richards, and I feel like that was really it. I mean, it's just I don't know. I'm really getting tired of Pochettino, and I knew the red flags were there when he had a bunch of like jewelry on. I was like, all right, that's not a good sign. That is not a good sign. Maybe that's just a personal thing, but I would like to see my managers with like a wedding band and maybe like a watch and that's it, but not like bracelets and rings. And I'm sorry, I just that's not my thing, dog. So hopefully we get it back together, we get this thing under wraps, we get it ready for the World Cup. Obviously with your B team it's kind of like duh, but like your B team can't suck that bad to get thrashed pretty much by Turkey. But anyways, outside of those things that are not music related whatsoever, I saw in the server there were some shows that were popping off. But I haven't seen any big shows outside of the stuff that I've seen in the server. Because I know, Smokey, you were saying that they got a new warehouse, or I guess club, built in Dallas. I just gotta say, the pictures that you sent were like super, super, like the ceilings. It was like the first thing that caught my eye were all the pipes in the ceiling. I was like, it looks like those tunnels that kids would climb. Like, obviously, I know they're like ducks and everything, but like, it just looks just like sky tubes or something like that. Yeah, it's also very, very blue. Yeah, the silo, that's what it is. It's the, you said it's an add-on to the silo. But yeah. So let's look at this Timberland thing. Um Oh, he's actually live right now. How funny is that? He's live. Oh, funny enough. Hold on. Let's see if this comes through. Let's see. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Yeah, this is exactly the point I wanted to talk about. Um,
This is how you do it. I want to learn how to prompt to better my sound.
okay, I think this is coming
But
through. So, um,
I'm just trying to
I'm gonna
educate
say
people.
this though. I'm gonna say this though. Regardless of the fact that that may be true, if people are making prompts or making
and
shit
some of
because
this
they can
stuff
like this
isn't
of
on
you,
me,
and you're
but
not receiving compensation for it, we got a bigger problem. So here's what I'm gonna say.
let me
You
turn
say
this
you say
down.
you
I
didn't
didn't
do
have
that
it
time.
turned
Fine.
all the way.
I just want to play something. I just want to play something, right? We know this record, right? Do we
And
know this
this is
song?
also something that I wanted to touch on, which is a pretty big
Coldplay.
point of contention.
It's Coldplay, right? I remember when this shit came out, it was so inspiring, so it made me want to like, yo, we gotta make music. This shit's fire. When Timberlake came out with this shit, yo, we gotta make music. This shit's fire. But if this is what's happening,
Also, I know that the screen is stretched, but it's because I have a wide screen, so I'm working on getting another monitor.
That's not Coldplay.
sounds just like Coldplay to me.
No. I can tell you that. No, that's not
Now,
Coldplay.
hold on, hold on. I'm not doing
No,
that.
no, 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 no. Hey, hold on. You talking to the king. Now, hold on, my boy. Hold on, my boy. You talking to me, and that's not no Coldplay. Nigga, every song. Hold on. Melodies, no. You're not gonna get mad at the machine because the machine sounds like, oh, you just mad at the machine. But this is me.
So what you're
Okay,
saying is the
so
machine is
No, it's
they
what I prompt. I didn't
they
prompt. No, you can't even say
no. What
Coldplay.
we're saying is that the machine doesn't create, it
actually,
manipulates.
No, it's what my prompt. I said
I
indie
think you
rock
can.
and
Okay,
with
Oh
hold
yeah,
on.
certain
this is.
things.
I was in
But
the
does
middle of
Suno
shopping.
create from scratch,
I was
or
gonna
do you
buy
have to
another one of
upload a
these,
song?
No, you gotta no. Okay, it's two sides.
and
There are
also shout
sides where
out
people
Studio
write lyrics
Archive.
like John was saying, right? Where people make karaoke, right? Lottie dotty dee, dotty dotty da, body body ba. Then there's a side that's pro, where you treat it like a sampler. So if you got a beat, you got pianos, you playing your chords, you playing this, you get your song. Now, if you want to add a guitar, you can say add other stuff. You can prompt it. You can upload your song. Your
Yeah.
song. I don't.
Okay. He started to where the thing that I wanted to actually dive into. And what I was more curious about was because there were a lot of good things that were people were asking the right questions and everything like that. And oh, okay, you're not gonna let me see it. Okay. Um, let's see. Is everything gonna be like this? Okay, this is not great. Why can't I read anything? Anyways, so the thing that I was really curious about was because I know he does the beats challenge or something like that on his streams, and he generates stuff around that. And so the biggest thing, okay, everyone wants to be dumb. Okay, I guess we just won't read those. There we go. Okay, or be something like this. So one of the things that was really interesting to me that people were bringing to kind of that I was reading was he has these challenges, and does he use that to generate and build up his models to, basically all of the people that are submitting, are they building on that, right? And I think to me that was one of the biggest contentions of, I think that if you're somebody in that, you sent something in or whatever, I think that is kind of a big deal to, and it's not Sono, it's Suno. And I think this is it. This one, there's another one too, but I can't remember which one. I think it's this one. But Suno does generate pretty decent music, and so when he's saying that you can't put in Coldplay, you actually can. I used it to try to generate like an AI or an anime intro, something like that. And I was able to put in, all sorts of bands, Bring Me the Horizon, um, Bad Omens, a number of different bands into it. And did it generate anything like it? Not necessarily, but it kind of was starting to get into that field. Where what would be interesting is that one of the things that I did generate was that you could make an anime intro song or or a metal anime intro song, and it actually will sound kind of like any of the anime intro songs. Like it sounds just like it. So I think that part, what I heard from what he was saying, isn't necessarily true. Unless they tweaked it after the lawsuit, which is a possibility, it is. But back when I used it like a year ago, you were able to put any bands or anything, excuse me, anything that you wanted into it. So to go backwards, to go forward, so Timbaland has now announced that we can just read it. Shout out to Hip Hop DX for being cool and actually having something that you can read. Has announced that he is now working with an AI artist that isn't actually real. The iconic producer has launched Stage Zero, an AI-focused entertainment company, and it comes as a result experimenting with the AI program Suno, which is Suno, not Soon, named Tata. Speaking with Billboard, he claims that this is a new genre of music called A-pop, and detailed how the songs for the AI artists are made by putting demos into Suno, which then turns them into voices and melodies without actually using that, blah, 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 blah. I'm not just producing tracks anymore. I'm producing systems, stories, and stars from scratch. Tata is not an avatar. She is not a character. Tata is a living, learning, autonomous music artist built with AI. Tata is the start of something bigger. She's the first artist of a new generation. A-pop is the next cultural evolution, and Tata is the first icon. The technology, and again, this is all Tim. The technology of today is perfect for what it is. What used to take me 3 months only takes me 2 days in the beginning. It was a toy. It was like going to the toy store. You got to go through gluttony because you can't believe that it's here. There's no announcement basically on when Tata, her first song, shall be coming. So I feel like, again, and we can kind of bring some music back because now it's too quiet. Well, actually, let's see if let's go back.
Don't use it for.
Y'all going broke.
You can prompt it. You can upload your song.
Yes.
Song. I don't use
Yes.
it for what it gives me. I use it as a sampler.
Yes.
To upload on top of what I already created.
Right.
It's deeper than a sampler, though, Tim.
No, Guru, no, it's not. And what you about to say? Why after that? What's the best way?
The best way to what?
You about to say? You said the streaming. Why are we putting it on streaming? So what did you suggest?
Go back to DCC. Go back to look. You see this right here? This is my album, and I'm
You
not plugging my shit in.
You missing it.
No, hold on. I'm getting to my point though.
No. I'm not holding on.
Go ahead,
I'm not cutting your wisdom, bro. Let me build.
Go ahead.
First of all, let's be clear for the audience. I don't give a fuck about no money.
He did.
We're not talking about people level. I'm saying what the business model is. We don't sell music anymore. So I'm with
Which is true.
To consumer. You know what I'm saying? Those people.
Everything y'all built, everything y'all go to heaven. But what I will say is, it has to manipulate something that you give it. Therefore,
right.
It has to learn from you. Therefore, we need to see some sort of compensation for that matter, because I can't deal with.
Okay, so that's the end of that. So here's kind of where I think is very interesting, and again, I can see both sides of it because I've been around it enough to where I'm not an AI, what is it, a Maxis or whatever, and I'm also not AI slop hater, whatever, right? And so this is kind of where my intro became kind of, and I'm also wearing shorts, so super anti-emo today. I apologize, but it is stupid hot. So here's what's really interesting to me and kind of this whole debate, right? So a lot of people, when they hear AI and they're like, you can prompt it, you can write this and that, it generates all this music and whatnot, right? So when I started using AI music and trying it out, right, it would only generate like a minute and 30 seconds or like less than that. And from that point on, you know, like it was just one of those things to where it was like I kind of see the potential, I kind of don't see the potential. Like how fast is AI going to learn? And again, you got to remember this is like circa 2021 when this started to bubble up and all that. Um so in my head I'm thinking like how fast, and again this is 4 years ago, right? So in my head I'm thinking like how fast can AI learn? How fast can it produce whatever it's supposed to be? Because like in my head I'm thinking, okay, well I've seen all these other things take forever to build and like get to this point, right? And this was at the time that, you know, we're looking at Mid Journey and we're seeing Will Smith, and Will Smith looks like an abomination to this planet with him eating spaghetti. So in my head I'm thinking, okay, we're nowhere near this closeness, right? And so in my head I'm thinking, okay, so one of the things that actually a lot of people may not know or may not remember is that there actually was another first AI artist that was around in 2022. And he kind of popped up. He didn't have a long run. Being in mind, this was a very, very short run, okay? It was very, very, I would say scammy. It was very culture vulturish, as you can see. Um, you know, the actual artists that these guys used to build their model was also kind of screwed over and scammed over. But to me, this was like my first, like, this was like the beta version of like what a quote unquote AI art or an AI artist was to be. And so basically, if you've never heard of it, this person, AI person, and here's a picture of the artist that they used, his voice, and then they sort of modeled off of him, but they also kind of whitewashed him a bit and then added a whole bunch of what I would say very stereotypical things onto him. But basically it was this AI creation that was the first one to be signed. This AI artist that was signed to Capitol Records. It was the first one ever in history. And I don't even really think that the AI artist ever put out like a number of songs. I think it was like maybe 2 songs, maybe 1 song. Yeah, I can't remember if there was ever an actual song that came out. I don't think there was. But what was interesting was to see that this thing is like, again, going from where I was in 2021 to like 2022. And now it's like, well, we have an AR artist or an AI AR artist now that is signed to a major label, that is giving credibility, that is working with other actually well-known rappers. I can't remember right at the time. But they're giving it credibility and everything like that. Now, the reason it came to a very fast halt was they decided to do some very what I would say racist lyrics, racist things. These were also during the George Floyd protests and stuff like that. So obviously, you put 2 and 2 together, and you have an absolute major catastrophe. Shortly after, FN Mecca also was dropped from the label. Then what came out was that these guys that, you know, were making this model and, you know, pretty much running the artist was, they like I said, they scanned the actual, the actual rapper behind it the person that they basically trained their model on got screwed over in the process. Then you find out that there are also some very sketchy individuals behind the scenes. Just things started to come out, and it was like, okay, that was a collapse. And again, so that was in 2022, right? So that was 3 years ago to where we're at now with this whole other thing with this Tata situation. Oh man, I'm just gonna type it in. Hopefully nothing bad pops up. Or did I have it over? Yeah, I had it on Twitter. Okay, anyway. So that's kind of the history to where we're at now. And so you have multiple different big players. Suno, there's another one that I've always forgotten, that have been under major scrutiny because they've been sued for basically saying, where are you scraping all of the music data? Where are you pulling from to train your models on music and all this and that, right? And so that's why that conversation with Tim was actually very interesting to me, because obviously I clicked right at the perfect time to say, no, I do not take anybody's music. Everything that I have is from my gigs and terabytes of information that I have as a producer, and I've trained my model off of that data, right? And I think, to me, that's kind of one of the biggest things is like, okay, if you're an artist, right? And there's a couple that I've not partnered with, but I've been an ambassador with, to be clear. I was one with Pixelenix when they were doing their thing around the whole deadmau5, Richie Houghton type of deal, where they were starting to use Chorus AI as a thing that would generate these beats and whatever, right? So the way that I've always viewed it was, okay, as a producer, right, and I know for a fact that we're using this AI as a spot to basically spin samples that are uploaded with consent to then spin off to make more samples, or let's just say create something else that we can sample out afterwards. To me, I thought that was a great idea, because it's like, okay, and kind of what Timbaland was saying as well was, well, technically speaking, I can upload my own things to it, have it spit out to me, and then I can kind of play around with it and mix it around, resample it again, to kind of get these things out of it. So from the producer standpoint, and someone that's also very forward in technology and this and that, not saying I'm always for the technology, but from that standpoint of someone there, I can totally understand where this kind of mentality is coming from. Now, I think that the AI artist is very interesting, and to call it A-pop is also kind of like cheeky, but I see. I think it's really interesting because I don't think necessarily that you would say this takes away from a human working with Timbaland, because Timbaland also still can function as himself, right? So there's an argument to be made that if you were to do this, you would use the AI model or artist or however. It's actually really interesting. I'm trying to frame it in my head like what you actually call it, but the AI artist, that would kind of be like this alias that you would spin off, because I think that if we use Timbaland again as that example, I don't think Timbaland is just going in, prompting, and taking what's out and then throwing it to upload it, right? To me, that would be one of those people that basically call themselves an artist, right? And then you go back and find out, well, they're actually they're just prompting things and then calling themselves an artist, which is like, okay, but you're not really an artist. You're just a prompt artist. Like you're just prompting things, pulling it and uploading it. Just like if you were to say you're a producer and then we find out that you've actually been ghost produced. It's like, well, no, not really. You're not even that. You've been ghost. You have ghost tracks like in your, like, what are you? You know what I mean? Like, so it's again, one of those things that is a little interesting to me on how you frame all this stuff, because it's, it's how you view. Do you view AI as a tool, or do you view AI as a thing that is going to take human jobs, right? And I think that argument is really interesting. Now, the bad, or what I would say, the cons of it is that, again, that maybe now that the time is not being invested into a person, right? It's now invested into like this AI artist, right? Does that take away from an artist opportunity or whatever? Maybe. I mean, does that mean that we don't ever get a major hit again from Timbaland with, just throwing it out there, with like a Nelly or a Madonna? I mean, maybe he doesn't work with like the next pop artist or whatever. But I think the other way that you can look at it, now that I'm thinking about it a bit, is that if you're using this AI artist, right, and you are the AI artist's like controller of whatever you want to say, that necessarily means that if that thing is popping off, right, and you're a big artist, right, you could also demand more money because your time and attention now is towards like things that you're wanting to do and things that you can control. Your time is more valuable in that aspect. So I think that, again, I think up and comers are always going to be up against the grain right now, anyways, regardless of what genre. And I more so speak from the genre of electronic music. So to me, it's like one of those things to where it's like, you can already tell in electronic music who actually is producing their stuff and who's not, right? We can really go down the list of just within the last year or so of two people on the same label that uploaded a sample pack demo as a full-on release with a major label in electronic music, and they didn't seem to skip a beat. Like, I mean, didn't miss a beat. Oh, sorry, we messed up. My bad. We just didn't mean to do that. And then it's like, whatever. Yeah, if you didn't know about that, it was very, very big. I don't know if it would pop up. It's actually how Varian actually followed me from the first one, not the second one. I want to say it was Deadbeats sample pack. Let me see if I can find it, just so people don't think I'm crazy. Like, okay, it's not gonna pull up what I thought. Okay, dubstep. I can't remember because everyone was kind of hinting around it, and I just remember being like, "Yo, who is the person?" Man, I'm not gonna find it. I know it. Okay, it was 2 years ago. Yeah, it was 2 years ago, and someone uploaded a sample pack demo. Oh, it was work. Yeah, because there was two of them. One did a demo track from a sample pack, and then one basically mimicked the sample pack demo. You could say that they made the track, but they very closely followed what the sample pack demo was. Yeah, this person no longer is. Oh, they probably got blocked by this person. Oh no, they just deleted. Oh man. Okay, so anyways, like, I'm not crazy, right? So I don't want y'all to think I'm crazy. This is just someone that is also solar heavy, has also ruined Twitter with all of these stupid ads. I just want to put that out there too. But anyways, right? So we could view that. Oh, and then you can all see like my WWE feed and like a baby on the field. Okay. So let's go back to Tata. There we go. Okay. So again, Um. Oh, Timbaland. I was gonna say Tata, but Tata's not real, so I don't think that works. Also, I did go. Where was it? I talked about it on the stream. Oh, Solar, bro. I tried to mute him and block him, and it didn't work. So I was just like, you know what? I don't care anymore. Thankfully, I've only clicked on one of his things, on one of his ads, and then I never really had an issue again. Well, I mean, going back to our conversation in the Discord, I no doubt probably think that he's probably invested like at least 10 to 20 grand on ads. Like there's just no way that he can pop up that much. And just not, you know what I mean? So going back to this, let me see if there's anything interesting going on.
Yeah, that's what he talking about. Jay?
Hey, Guru, what's the worst you could do to me? Kill me? I already live forever. I got a grandson. I already live forever. My name is written in.
Okay.
And if we need the brick, we gonna build the brick. And y'all would have been the person that told Bullets getting fuck what the government talk about. I can change it. Black people.
All right.
Awareness brought to our music. Awareness brought to our new indie labels. XYZ. Y'all fight on the sidelines. Y'all deal with that.
All right. I think we're done with like the actual stream. But anyways, like I was saying is that, oh, shout out to La-di-da. Funny enough, I met her in my Web3 days. But yeah, see, effing Mecca. Everybody forgets that effing Mecca was like the first of the first. effing Mecca was the first one that really was the eye opener for a lot of people that like this is the something that you possibly could do. Yeah. So like I said, so I think it all comes down to, and actually one of the funniest things is like I'm realizing in the sorry, I meant to say I was playing music and then I just never did it. Let me turn it back down again. Let's turn it down a little bit. Okay. So in what I'm also realizing is that I think also the dead giveaway for people that absolutely hate AI in every form and fashion is people that use the term slop, right? Because I think we're at a point now where it's like a lot of the stuff that's coming out, you know, you have new AI companies that are coming out that, you know, are putting out things that absolutely suck, right? But I think if we were to really have an honest conversation, we're getting to a point now where AI is getting not slop. It looks really good. It's looking really realistic. I think Google's model that just came out looks absolutely insane. You know, so I think that the conversation again is like, you know, and the other part about all these conversations that we're talking about is also what I feel like fans are really to blame in this. And I know this is going to be a really, really big hot take for people, but I think fans are the allowance of what goes. And I think that if we start to go back just about, you know, a year or two ago, I don't think people really care. I don't think people care whether it's an AI song or not. And people can like bitch and complain about things, but at the end of the day, they're not supporting real people either. A lot of the people that are, shout out to y'all. I'm someone that goes through and buys all sorts of music. I try to buy as much art as I can. I'll buy as much merch as I can. But at the end of the day, like, I think people, and especially in music, and why I even started with it, I think music as we know it is dying because there's just not enough money on this side. I think I had this conversation also last night. The money is not on this side of it. It's on all the other branches that are a part of the music, the tech, um, the brand deals that come along with it, which is not even really music. It's really the artists that are brand dealing with other brands. Um, it's not again the music. And if you use any big artist, right? Obviously, their music is the only life force that's still keeping music going. But if you were to go back last year, there were tons of articles that were coming out that these mainstream major labels can't break new artists. They're having a very very hard time breaking out new artists, right? But what I really like is that if you actually look underneath the surface and like the undergrounds or people that are not really at that level, they're making giant waves throughout all of this stuff, and I think that that's really cool. Dochi's been around for a very long time. If you followed her, kind of her music, but what's really cool is that she's kind of broken through all of the bubbles just by being super super talented, right? And I think that that is really cool. But if we were to look at in the landscape of everything else, it's like everything right now is all pay to play. You can't make any sort of moves anywhere unless you have some sort of friend to get you on. Your family gets you on. You got a big bankroll to get you on. And I think that that's kind of part of the problem is that I think a lot of artists also don't view anything as winning. Like there's no pathways to get anywhere because everything is everything is almost sort of kind of like locked down to a point where there is no growth. You've hit the ceiling. And I think that that's just one of those things to where I wish there was more things being done by, festivals or promotions or promoters, to allow things or a pathway to get on, right? And I don't mean doing a little competition of if you join this DJ competition, you can get onto a booking, right? I think what I mean is like if you have, a main artist that's supportive of like the underground or something like that, to be able to put that on and then have a bunch of just openers come in to open the show up. All locals or all whatever. Just because I think that the scenes really could use that capital influx of that name to generate sales, but also at the same time give exposure to a lot of different people to do X, Y, and Z, right? And not getting into the whole conversation of, the insane amount of costs and inflation around touring and everything like that. But I've completely ventured off of what my main point was. But going back to AI artists, again, it's just another one of those things to where it's more it's kind of more costly up front, but you can still create an AI agent or AI model or anything like that pretty cost effectively. But if you were to do that, right, you could actually probably do more around it because everything, a lot of around it is generative. So you can generate, a song or, and cut down all that time. The content around it, you could cut that down because everything is generative or whatever. Depending on what kind of AI system you're using, inputting that in, like a stable diffusion, putting that in and then running through that and then taking that and then dropping it into like a, I don't know, what's the one that I used to use? I'm so dated now. I can see the emblems in my head, but I can't remember the names. I'm also really, really bad with names too, just FYI. But so never take that personal. I just can't remember names. But again, I think it's really interesting that this is the first major artist that is now coming out and saying, I have what I read this more so as is not really an AI artist. I read this more as this is my first AI agent that I can do whatever I need it to do to get what I need out of it. I am not definitely. I'm at a 99.9%. Uh, I would say truth, not truth. Confidence that this is going to spur on more people of that caliber to do the same exact things. It's just one of those. You needed someone to kick down the door to do it, and Timbaland also is one of those people that I think that he has enough will to just keep going no matter, you know, what kind of heat is going on. He can handle the heat. And I think that he's going to be able to just kind of keep pushing this through. Now, will it be a long time? I have no idea. But I do think that there's going to be others to follow shortly after this. There's no doubt in my mind. And whatever. But other than that, that's kind of what I've been thinking, my thoughts around this. Obviously, it's kind of highly controversial at this point, but I'm interested to know, like, what do you guys think about? What do you guys, what's your thoughts around the AI, whether it's about, like, this or, like, everything else? Just because, again, like, I'm one of those people that I'm kind of like, I can see it from all perspectives, but you know, I'm not too diehard on every position either, so also I just saw something that was really interesting. Isn't Jared Leto and, like, because I just saw this. Wasn't he just in, like, another movie that's supposed to come out? Oof. But,
I know LA Knight was a massive favorite coming in tonight, continuing that ascent. But you know, great things come to those who wait, right? And I think that rise is.
bro. Yeah, I don't think the WWE is fun anymore. It's not fun. All right, sorry, I got sucked into it. I got sucked into it a little bit. It got me back in. So I guess R-Truth is back. So I guess I fell for the. I fell for it. Shout out R-Truth, baby. I was really upset about that one too, man. I was upset. I love R-Truth. Yep, I fell for the work, man. Okay. All right. Outside of that though, I man, I lost all my thought. That completely just ruined my train of thought, but whatever. Um but yeah, so like I said, I'm curious to know what y'all think about the AI kind of like type of deal. What do you guys think should be, I guess, the rules or the, you know, both from the fan side of it and then also from the artist side of it? Just because, again, there's kind of two different rules of engagement for both. I used to be okay with the idea of like having AI artists labeled as AI artists, but I kind of like, yeah, but if I use AI and then I resample it, does that still count as being an AI artist? Or does an AI artist basically just kind of like encapsulate the entirety of the usage of AI? So, but outside of that, I will definitely be keeping my eye on to that because I find that that subject to be super, super interesting and all that jazz. But who knows what's to come. I think the only thing that we got out of the thing that I cared about was, you know, our artists that have submitted to his beat streams and everything like that. Is their song and data being used? And if they are, I think that would be bad just because they didn't have consent. But it's one of those things where if you think about remix competitions, every song that you do and upload, where whoever you were uploading to actually owns that song. So it's like one of those things where it's like, did you read the fine print before you uploaded it, kind of deal? But it's a little, you know, what's the word? Fishy, scammy, lame. Lame is a word. I would use the word lame. Shady. That's another word I'd use. But yeah. But other than that, like I said, the music world seems to be a little bit quiet as of late. Not a lot of other things going on. Outside of that, ooh, I am curious to hear about this though. All right, so as another nerd point on the scale, I used to be a die-hard, avid, Ghost Adventures guy. I would watch it every single night for like years and years and years. It was just one of those things that it had like the perfect ambiance for me to sleep. And then I realized like later in life that like the sounds that I was able to go to sleep to was like brown noise or white noise, kind of like stuff like that. But anyways, I so anytime someone in my family sees anything with like Ghost Adventures with like Zach Bagans or anyone associated with that show, they always tell me. And so that story that came out about Aaron Goodwin's wife, who basically paid for someone to murder him, broke. I was like, yo, what in the hell is this? So apparently he went to court.
Was in the most loving relationship of
someone who I trusted in whole heart and laughed with every day. Someone who made me feel like I was her one and only. I was loyal to her and did whatever I could to make her happy. I thought we were something very special, and so did everyone else. After finding out she was cheating on...
Also, it's actually really funny to me, like people... Never mind, I'm gonna hold that thought. I'm gonna hold that thought.
September of last year, with multiple men, including the man going by the name Vincent. It turned out to be Grand Amato. I gave her the option of divorce, where we could try to work it out, because I loved her so much. She felt so bad, and I didn't want to lose me. Every day she made me feel more special, and she was so sorry.
That would suck though. Like, think about that. Like, someone that you're like, you know what I mean, down for life with is like paying to get you murdered, right? Like, it's not even that they're doing it. They're paying someone to get you killed. Is absolutely crazy, you know?
Now discovering she put a hit out to kill me more than once.
More than once? Oh my god, dude.
Black got blackmailed and spent almost all our savings to keep it quiet. And fell more in love with the motto. And even got spiritually married. And now I was called the first.
Oh my god, dude.
They talked until she was arrested. And she sought his help to kill me. This has led me to fear my life. I've hired armed security for weeks.
That is nuts.
Always looking over my shoulder and having to go through therapy. And even trying to understand any of it. It's like a heartbreak no one should go through in life. I can't trust anything anymore. I cry every day. I feel so alone.
Man, I feel bad. I can't watch any more of that. But that is actually kind of wild. She tried to get him killed twice, and then got blackmailed. Oh my god. I don't understand why divorce wouldn't be like, why not just get divorced? Like, bruh. I mean, that's not funny, because it's not funny, but like, that's so bad. Like, she should go to jail for a very long time. Like, a very long time. Wow, that's crazy. That just, I was like, wow. That took me a second. Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso defeat John Cena. Alright, cool, I don't care. Anyways. Well, I just got my drama filled for today. Yeah, I'm doing like one last check of like my Twitter. And because like, I don't know what it is. I keep flip-flopping on Threads. It's like it's actually super easy to get like traction on Threads, right? But the thing that I really don't like about Threads is like, it's hard to see things that... Also, I really do like that it's funny that people that aren't allowed to be on Threads... I really find it funny that people that got canceled on Twitter go to Threads to get popping again. I find that really funny. whatever. But I find it really hard to try to like get my threads like in order. And what I mean is like out of all the social medias that I've been able to use, it's really hard to get threads under control. Like I don't, or like honed in. That's the right word I'm trying to use. I'm trying to get it honed in to like things that I only care about. But it seems like every so often it just keeps like veering off of the path of like, oh, here's some other things that you want to see, and it's like, no, I don't want to see any of that. Like I like legit don't care about any of that. And it's like, nope. But whatever. I guess the only other thing that I care about that I'll talk about before we start doing anything music wise is I'm like, again, and I say this all the time, but I'm definitely not a gamer at all. But I am excited to see and hear that there's going to be a Cyberpunk 2 coming out, or that they're working on it. I think that's super awesome. I think it's super, super rad. And then also, I watched the State of Play by PlayStation. Dude, that was so bad. It was the most boring showcase I have watched in a long, long time. I think out of the amount of games that were shown, there's like only 3 that I would play. And it would be Silent Hill. I don't even remember what was on it. It was that boring. Apparently it's a movie too. And I have a pimple coming out. I feel it. Not good. The James Bond game looks horrible. Ghost of, I'm gonna say this wrong. Yutai? Ghost of Yotai? That game I probably will be playing. I couldn't care about any of these other games. Yeah. I think that was it. Deadman, I probably would play that one. And then Final Fantasy Tactics, I'd play. But outside of that, that showcase was so bad. I hated it. It was the worst hour I have spent watching something. I don't know why I thought there was going to be something really great announced on it, but it just never happened. It just never came to be. But whatever. And then also on Threads, I didn't realize that there's like a... Can you mute things on Threads? Like words? Because if you could do that, I would completely take back everything that I just said. No, it does not look like you can. Oh, great. There's a new thing. It's called Fediverse. The Fediverse is a global social network of interconnected servers around the world, including threads. Each server can be thought of as an individual platform of its own users, content, and rules. People can choose which server they prefer and follow other people on different servers to see and interact with their What the hell is this? People on other platforms will be able to search for you and share your content. Posts being made, thread API will be shared during the Fediverse. Each server is independent and has its own rules and policies. Meta can't moderate or control what happens to your content on other servers after you share it. You can stop sharing it at any time in your settings. What is this? The Fediverse? Am I reading this right? The Fediverse. It's called the Fediverse. It literally sounds like feds. No, I don't want to do that. Count me out. That sounds like something like you can share your stuff on like a different country server or like their version of a thread in like a different country, which in theory sounds cool, but the fact that you don't know what's going on, nah, I'm out. I'm out of that. Sorry, bud. Yeah, so you can't mute words. So this again automatically again goes into like my ranking for 5th worst social media apps. Yeah, so going back to the AI thing, it's slop and mess. Those 2 words tell me like you instantly just hate everything to do with you hate everything to do with AI. Yeah. Yeah, I mean it just doesn't stop. Even like when I try to like not see things, it just doesn't. It just keeps showing up. Like I don't want to see any of this. It's actually kind of insane. Like all right, whatever. I gotta get off of it. Gotta get off of it. Gotta go back to Twitter. So, all right. Other than that, I think that's all I have in my talkity talk things and whatever. But I'm just doing one more scour of the internet. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything else. Alright. Alright, so let's switch gears. Let's get into making some music. And like I said, I think I realized the last time I streamed, like I actually streamed a session. I realized that you couldn't actually see, and I think it's out of sync again, but whatever. You can actually see the plugins or anything like that. So what it is that when I actually try to capture the window in Streamlabs, that it doesn't capture all of the window because there's multiple different ones. So until I get another display, because like I said, I just have a wide monitor, whatever the word is. Until I get like a dedicated monitor, it just won't show up. But you should be able to still see and hear everything. And if you truly want to see it, I have no problem showing it on screen. So, so we can pause this for now. Let's go ahead and get this all set up. Okay, am I back? Okay, let me... Oopsies, I've been talking to nobody again. Shocker. Ay, 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 ay. Okay. Like one day, I'm gonna have this thing working, like without any problems, and it's gonna be a great day. But that day isn't today, as it seems. It just is not that day. All right, so let's remove this. And then let's try this. Oh, cool. It just doesn't want to do anything. All right, well, that puts a damper on my plans. Oh, it's already open still. All right, let's try this one more time. Because if I can't get this to do anything, we might just have to call it a night. Also, what's actually really funny, I still have never figured out what caused Voicemeeter to completely break. It just broke, like just 100% broke. Well, let me try this. Let's it just doesn't want to capture the audio. Let me just try this again. Because that could be it too. I don't know what happened after I got home, but it's like everything just crashed and burned on my every single one of my settings. Like it was like the week before, it was like my video got completely wiped out, and then this week it was just like, oh, your audio, what's that? Delete. And whatnot. So, but I hope everyone on this wonderful what day is it? Saturday? Hope everyone on this Saturday is having a good one. A good Saturday. Chill vibes. Also fun, or not fun thought, but interesting thought. I wonder if you can get, because the other thing that I've been dealing with and like why I've been pulling back a little bit from YouTube is like everything on YouTube is getting copyrighted, and that's fine. I understand. That's why I had to stop the Bandcamp thing for a second. But it on the last stream that I did, that I started playing all my own music again all over. I got copyrighted on one of my own songs, and I'm just like, this is so annoying. Like, everything is just super annoying. So I now wonder if you play a sample, if that we get it copyrighted. All right, let me try this again real quick, and then if not, we will be calling it a night. But before I forget, because I'm also really, really bad at plugging things, If you are interested in hanging out past the stream, if you do the exclamation point Discord, it should pop up a link to our Discord. And by our, I mean my Discord. It's just not, it doesn't want to do it. I don't know what it is. Okay, so it's coming in there. But that isn't even the thing. Anyways, like I was saying, if you wanted to join the Discord, if you do the exclamation point Discord, that'll send you a link to the House of Daw, which is my server that I have spent an ungodly amount of time trying to curate something that is special of something. I accidentally closed my my mixer, so I don't know what it is with tech. And now I'm too loud. Okay, let's turn that down. I don't know what it is this week. I just can't catch a break with anything technology related. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know at this point, but I'm not stressing out. It is what it is. So, other than that, is there any other questions y'all had or anything y'all wanted to talk about? Just because at this point, I really don't. I'm just kind of like vibing, you know? I just be vibing. So that works that way. Okay. I think that's coming through. Is it coming through? It's showing me that it is. Yay! So basically what it's done is it's given me 2 channels that I can send audio in, and that's it. Before, I was able to choose any other channel that I wanted. And now I can only choose B and B2. Like, I don't even understand anymore. I'm probably actually gonna have to start from scratch because, like I said, I have like a whole setup on here, but I'm gonna have to like figure something out. But is it quiet? Is it loud? Is it like okay? Good. Okay. So like 10 dBs is like the vibe. Okay. Okay, so let's get into it. Yeah, it's also an ambient loop, so like I should probably have done something like a kick. Let's just start a kick on here. Let's do a little bit of green fetish kick, because why not? How's this? Is that still loud or quiet? Oh wait, I just read the whole thing. It's quiet but loud, but it's like okay. How about no? How about this is okay? Also, we work in 148 in this house. Oh, it just disappeared. Okay, cool. Rock on. Cool. Oh, so anytime I right click, it breaks it. That's cool. Awesome. Fun things that we're learning here. We learned so many cool things here. Okay, so there was a couple of things that I was like kind of vibing to and like feeling, right? But I feel like we need the right kick to like set us off, you know? Oh, that's a good one. This is super basic, but that's kind of what I want right now. I just want something basic, you know? There's nothing wrong with a little basic. Right? Am I right? So I'm vibing to that, right? So I got something there. Okay, so like I was talking about before I got rudely interrupted. I have been in love with this plugin Lush 2. And it's basically a emulation of an SH-101. And it sounds really, really good. And I spent over 2.5 hours going through the presets and saving a ton of them. And it sounds exactly like 101. It sounds amazing. But what I like more than that is that this like emulation does a lot of different things, from like pads, leads, FX and all that. But it also does really good drum samples. So you can do like, hold on, let me go back. Oh, oops, hold on. It can do like a 606 and everything. Yeah. It can do an 808, a 909. Yeah, all that is coming from this thing. It's so yeah. So anyways, it's really, really good. So one of the things that I really wanted to focus on since I've been coming back is like I've really wanted to focus on just being like simple and not really like going crazy with stuff. But if I do, the emphasis is on the craziness. And I think that that is what is kind of what I wanted to do. I just haven't done it in the way that I've thought was the right way, as dumb as that sounds. Like I put emphasis on everything else except like one or two good things to make them pop. Also shout out to this sample pack called Breakcore is not a good way to get laid. That's funny. But like right now, I'm just trying to like capture the vibe, you know? So I really just want to loop right now. Who's gonna hook me up? CGJ. Let's go with something like, I don't know. Well, that would be good to take up space for now. We just want to take up space. But really, I'm looking for just like something like this. Because like what I'm using is like, you can use a metronome and all that, and that's cool. But like right now, I just don't want to use that. I just want to like vibe. BPM is 148. Yeah, something like this. Right, and I'm not worried about a sub or like anything right now. I just want to work on like a nice little melody. Because that's what I want to do. And I don't know why it keeps taking away my keyboard. And we just need like a good, like a good little vibe. And since we're here, let's drag this out. And then, because why not? Let's just combine those two. And like, let's start with an A. Let's do something basic. Yeah, Lush 2 is like amazing. Like I love Lush 2 because it sounds super good. Right, and I think like that right there is like a good basis to start. Right, and so like let's just duplicate this again, and then like let's go nuts. Right, but we need something like we need it like to like pop. I want it to scream. I need this to scream at me. So let's get like, I don't know, something screamy. Where is it? That worked better in my head. All right, let's go in and take this a bit. Let's work with this Buddha because it has potential, right? Okay, so that didn't really do anything. So I think this is what we're gonna get. All right. Okay, let's cross that. I think that's dumb. Okay, let's go back to this. Okay, so we got like this vibe. Alright, so we're like vibing, right? Right, but I kind of like want this to talk a bit. Like it's like we're going up and down. Like give me something. Maybe we go down again. Oopsies. Okay, so like in my head, right? So this is kind of like what I would say is like my main point of what I want to say, right? And like now we can go through and say, okay, so this is decent, right? So like let's just say I'm like because like I think in my head that if you can take like a lead or something like that and like make it like go through a different sample or like preset and it sounds just as good, I think you have something that you can work on, and I think you can work with something. So if we were to mute this, right, and we're talking like a pad or something. Oh, that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted. Okay, so I think I have it favored. Can you answer that? DX7, the DX75 is like the thing. That is my trusty. Okay. Okay, so we kind of have that, but we need like a little bit of like we need some like something, right? Yeah, let's throw this in. Let's pretty this lead up a bit because it sounds good. Alright, so now we're going to go to our trusty friend Rift. And then Rift is going to do something beautiful. Let's go to raw tone. Actually, I think this is what we're gonna do. So one of the things you can do to where it's like, yeah, I'm kind of vibing, right? And you're like, but I don't want to lose one of the main things. So what I like to do, if I can get this to do what I want it to do, is I still am like kind of like in my head, like where is this screaming thingy at? Because I know that I made it and I want to find it. And it makes me so sad that I don't remember where I put it. But also at the same time, it shouldn't be a shock to anyone. Okay, so actually, it's not this way that I want to do it. I want to do it with this. Actually, I lied. It is this. Okay. So we're going to have this rift doing the things on this one. There we go. Okay. I'm having a hard time seeing the screen. I probably should have grabbed my like glasses, because like I'm having a really hard time seeing. And then we're just gonna have that like a backing, right? So it still kind of has that like beautifulness to it. All right, let's throw a ride in here. I just need something basic, thank you. We're just trying to get the idea down. Okay. Okay, so the only other thing that I can think of before we get too deep and heavy into everything is like we need to have some sub kicking in. So let's drag this in, and then we need to have our sub kick in. We can do it on C3. Right, and so we're just trying to like hit this area right here. So we're gonna go back to our loop. We're gonna loop this baby up, and then we're gonna sub that, and then we're gonna go here. We're gonna click this. Do I have my rumble kick? Let's see if I failed myself, because that is a real possibility that I did. Yes, I did not save it. So we're going to have to make some of this stuff on the fly. That's not it. Fave. My racks. Oh, I did. I actually... Oopsies. Hold on. Is this my favorite lead? No, that's not it. Okay. But we can remake my rumble patch pretty quickly. So what we're going to do is we are going to load a simpler on. Shout out to simpler. And then we are going to come over here and drop a little kick. Doesn't matter really. Something like this. Alrighty, coolio. And then if we wanted, we could just do it like this. Very cool, very rad, very awesome. Then let's go over here and throw an LFO tool on this thing. And our main goal is we really just want it to be from this point over. And then let's move this click. So there's not a click. Right, and this is telling us exactly what we want, which is really good. So if we really wanted to, we actually could have it here. Right, So let's kind of build on what we got going on. So to make things very quick and easy, let's just go down to here and get rid of that. Right, but that's boring. We need a little bit more oomph to that, right? So let's also EQ this thing. So that way we don't need anything under 20 and we don't need anything. Cool, awesome. And then if you really wanted to and you're like, yo, but I want to get a rumble, you can also throw a delay on this thing and get if you have headphones, you can hear it. It's a little vibrating. But to me, if you're really wanting to do that, you can just do this. And that does the same thing. And it's a lot cleaner because it's there. But I'm just like, as of lately, I'm just like really simple in the sub, right? And then you can also play around with it and do like go up and down the keys and do it that way. But like to me, it's like as long as it kind of like hits, it's doing what it's supposed to. And then it's like you can do it there too and get all of that. But really, we just want this sub part. That's all we really care about. Turn this down just a bit. That way I don't blow your guys' speakers. Okay, so back to me. Boop. Okay. So this is actually the easiest way to start building out the arrangement. And so now that we have something that we're like vibing with, right? I would say drag this out all the way to like 6 minutes or something, right? And then as we do that, we're just like, yo, let's do that to this too, right? And then bang, right? And then that is our song right there, okay? So if we know that that's our limit, then it's like, okay, cool, we know what we're doing and all that stuff. So now we can start framing this in like eight bars, right? So obviously there's going to be more things that we can play around with, but for the most part, this is kind of like the importance of it. So depending on what you want to make and whatever, you know, like sometimes you want to just open with stuff like this. Right. And then let's just say, because at this point, some of this stuff is not, I just throw in and use. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll go in and do like some weird resampling or whatever. One of the cool things that I think a lot of people overlook is like, so we have this, right? Right, and so I threw an LFO tool on it, but what I actually kind of like to do sometimes is throw a transgate on it. And to me, it just kind of does a lot cooler things. Right? Or in my world, another thing that I like to throw on things is a beat repeat. Beat repeats are super, super fun. Super, super fun. So like we can take this off. Anything to do to just sort of like throw that sound off. But if we're doing like techno, repetitive is like the best thing. So it just depends on what you want to do. You know, and some of the things that I would say is like not mixing as you go, but technically it is. So I guess I'm a hypocrite. When I'm like trying to think of things, it's like better just to like go in and just like work instead of focusing on every little thing. But to kind of help myself later, we'll go in and throw like an EQ8. We're going to go through. We're just going to get rid of this area right here. And really, it doesn't need to be so drastic. It can be like that. We're going to get rid of the mud, which is around 300 to 400. And we really don't need it for something like this. We can get rid of the highs because it doesn't need that. So we can kind of scoop that out as well. Maybe get a tiny little push right here. And then let's see what we got. Yeah, we can also really just take it all the way up if we really wanted to. And we're really not going to miss anything. I mean, honestly, we can just... Right, and that's going to be our back, kind of like background thing. Another thing that I like to do that I think kind of makes every track like that I do really unique is I'll throw some sort of ambience onto it, like real world ambience. Let me find Mr. Bills. Or actually, no, let's scratch that. I used static in the last track I used, so let's not use... like something like this. Right, and it kind of has like this panning effect, so for me in my head, I'm like, okay, let's just drive this a little bit more crazy, and since it's a background noise, who cares? So let's go through, let's throw something like do we want to be dramatic or not dramatic? The answer is always dramatic, by the way, but I'll let you guys choose. Because something like this is typically what I would do. And that way it's hitting left and right, and then it's very like dramatic. And then one of the other things that I'm really loving, one of my like top secret plugins, isn't really top secret, right? So let's and I don't usually use a like a riser or something like that. I will actually make a lot of the ones that I use, I make. I'll actually show you what I do. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll find a vocal, more specifically a breathing vocal. So I'll take something like this, and then we'll just get rid of this. Okay, that's a little bit too short. All right, so something like that, and then we're gonna use this thing called Lossly, yeah. And then we're gonna throw this thing on here, and then we're gonna go down to verb, and then we're gonna go to, let's see. Right, and so, and I know what you're thinking. Well, that's not really like, you know, a down or whatever you would use the opposite word of. But what I'll do is I'll actually just reflip it and then go the other way. But what does Lossly do? It's like it replicates bad data internet connection. And it does like a whole bunch of cool things that I'm super into. And it just, I don't know. But we need a little bit more groove, I think, if we're like really being honest. So let's find some sort of groove that we can, maybe like an IDM type of deal. Maybe we go back and we throw this on like a, and then we like reverse this area. But we still need like a groove. I got sidetracked again. That's hard. don't even know why I clicked on it. I don't even like that sample pack. Okay, maybe I'm looking for the wrong thing. Let's do perk, right? Like some percussion before someone takes that the wrong way. Okay, let's go back to modular. Nope. No. No. Okay, those are all one shots. What does this sound like? Also, I hope you guys are still live. I hope I didn't run anyone off. And I also hope there's something that you can grab out of this. Oh. Let's see, 8, 16, already 2. So like we should be like slowly getting into like the next section. Cause like we're vibing. In actuality, this this needs to be over here. Hold on. This needs to be over here. And this needs to be over here. And then this needs to be dragged back out. And then this needs to be over here. And then we take this section out. We're at 8:16:32. So we'd have like a 8-bar little break here. I need you to shh for a second. Okay, so like maybe we like take this out, right? Or maybe we just take all of this out. Okay, so let's see. So we got 8, 16, 32. So let's bring this back in now. Or let's bring this back in now. Right back into it now. Oh yeah, I forgot we had this. Oops. Oops. And then what are all the cool kids doing? We got break beats, right? Yeah. Let's try this. And then let's get even crazier with that, with like Devious Machine. And let's glitch this the fuck out. Beat mashing. Yeah, so obviously we would do the same thing as we keep going and what of that. What do I think about that? I feel like if you did, that would be really interesting. But yeah, I think that's kind of why as we kind of look at things, I think a lot of people, if you study what the structure of like songs and stuff of whether it's something like some club banger, or you're just like, I really want to make something that's like more emotional or whatever, it's actually really easy once you start to like structure things and like try to figure things out. So that's kind of why I always put emphasis on like people, if they don't know what they're doing, just to start referencing songs. Like as I've been starting to get back into like music and everything, especially with the DJing side of things, that as I've been studying things more, I never really connected the dots that everything is almost in 32s and then it's like a break. And I think that's really interesting because typically like 30 or 40 years ago, everything was like in like 32s, but it was a continual 32. It never like fully stopped. So it would go 32 and then a small bar and then another 32. But now it seems like it's almost like this style where it's just like a 16 and then this section and 4. I don't know why it keeps doing that, but this section and 4 would be gone. And then this would be, 1 or whatever. But I think once you figure out how to like actually structure songs, it's pretty easy. But I think a lot of people start in this section where what it would be called the drop or whatever. In music terms, it's basically verse 1. But I think a lot of people work on the drops and everything like that. But if you work and have all of your song or sounds, what I call the sound palette, like chosen already, and then you just start dragging things out, and then you just start deleting things, it makes your life so much easier. Because you're not always searching for like the next and the next and the next. Like work in the 8 bars, and then after you get the 8 bars, you just copy and paste it. And then you just start dragging things out to whatever you want to do. But all music is taking things away and then adding it back in, or building to a crescendo to where everything is hitting, which is typically in this section. So if this was 3-2, if you wanted to like have a hard hitting, you would bring everything back in here, and then you would build up maybe 8 or 16 bars, and then everything hitting from here to here, and then you start going down here. But it just depends on like what kind of style you're going for or whatever. I know sing a 6-minute song is pretty shocking to like a lot of people. But, in techno world, having a 6 or 7 minute song is super easy to actually do and build out. That, like, if you can just put yourself in the right spots and, like, actually work early to save yourself a lot of time later, I mean, you can finish a song relatively quickly. Not even really getting into like the bass design, scaping the or designing the or soundscape for your FX or your background or whatever. Those kind of things are where that side of the music can be really, really fun. But again, I think, like, going back to what our conversation initially was with AI and how you view it and what, like a perfect example would be, like taking something like a sample. If you didn't know what resampling was, you're just building up a sample base or, whatever, and then you're just kind of recreating whatever you want, and then if you're generating music, it's kind of like you don't know how to do any of this, which makes you suck. So it's, you know what I mean? It's kind of like one of those things to where you can kind of almost like have your cake and eat it too if you really wanted it to. Yeah, I think Devious Machine and Lostly are probably one of the most interesting things that if you can do it right, you pretty much have a winning formula for IDM or like any insane, like, or super simple, like just design and sound. But yeah, I don't, and also the other thing is I really don't want these streams to be like one of those, basically, to me, I find it almost lame producer streams where you just sit and make music and whatnot. So, as always, if you have questions or you like want to know something, please ask. But I also just don't want to sit and like bore everyone with just producing music. But for me, it's a good way to get started on a project and actually like, we'll call the song Death of a Streamer. Just to like actually sit and start a song and then I can finish it later. But, that's that. And I'm losing my voice again. So outside of that, I'm pretty content with this stream. I think the audio side, we finally have it figured out after 2 months. So that's pretty cool. And then, yeah, so how do we feel about it? I know it's still like bare bones of a track, but like, do we vibe with it? Is it like Is it like a decent start? Good, good. Okay, I'll take it. Um. Man, that's crazy. That's also a lot to read, so I'm not reading any of that, and I know it's like a bot, so. But yeah, so like, I know I didn't really get into like the heavier kind of songs that I have. That's something that I think is gonna balance kind of between the good vibe of like something like that I'm working on here, and then kind of counterbalance that with something like the passive song that I kind of play in the background on stream. I hope VLC didn't close because that would be not good. And it did. Cool. But luckily we have it pulled up. Of course. But like I said, I want to try to have almost like this duality of like chill, kind of like emotional songs versus these harder hitting type of deals. Oh, now it just doesn't want to work. All right, cool. I don't, like I said, I don't know what is going on with voice meter, but it just does not, or banana, whatever the hell it's called. It just does not want to work with this setup anymore. There we go. Okay. Outside of that, let me save this project again. Okay. But outside of that, I'll leave the floor up if anyone has like any questions or thoughts or needing feedback on any sort of idea musically or branding wise or whatever. Because again, I want y'all to get something like actually useful out of this too. If you have anything. I guess everything just closed out, huh? Oops. Also, on the behind the scenes sort of thing, I'm starting to get all my planning out for releases, so there's that. Trying to be productive, you know? I guess while you're traveling, the best thing to do is just to work on all the boring paperwork side of music. So, so we're getting releases lined up, all that stuff. Finalizing some graphics for my secret label thingy that I'm building. I'm figuring out whether or not I want to be on Spotify or don't want to be on Spotify. Stuff like that. But I think, again, like the way that I really want to approach these is like not direct to consumer, which is going to be the plan, but I think more so weaponizing social media to be the outlet to get music out. Because I think that would be a really interesting experiment. Where it's like the only way you can get the song is through a DM. I think that would be cool. But, yeah, outside of that, just getting back into music is really hard and really boring. I completely forgot how some of the stuff is just like, it's not even hard, but it's just boring, you know? Yeah, it's fun if you like don't stop it, but like relearning music is boring. Cause like some of the highs of like learning music is like you're learning how to make X, Y, and Z. But once you've learned how to make it before and you just relearn it, it's like, oh, okay, that's how you redo it. Like you kind of get the your what's the terminology or the metaphor? Like you're back on the bike, like that rust is gone. Um, but the advertising side of it and whatnot, kind of like you said, it does suck, but I'm very business oriented already as a person. So it's not that it's like it sucks. It just sucks whenever everything hasn't been updated in years. So like going back and redoing it, like the thing that I'm dreading the most is going back and redoing my website. I am dreading it so much that I am just putting it on the back burner and just like just not even worrying about it right now. Like that's why Comey is on everything, because I'm like, hey, at least that's updated with all the links and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just stuff like that. It's just, if I had all of my stuff set up to where I could just, and again, why I have to get a second camera now, to like go in and then go do all my photo shoot stuff and like record videos, use the CRTV and all that stuff, right? Like that part is easy and fun to me. Like I know it's also not the, what's the word I'm looking for? The cool thing to say, but like making content isn't bad if you view everything as like an art piece. Which also, I think I talked about this last stream, but like that, the whole artist content thing is really, really lame to me. Like I don't know why everyone is like bitching about it, but like that's the name of the game. Like, you know, I don't know why. I don't know why people, especially artists, like they want to be artists, but they don't want to do the artist side of it. It's like, I don't get it. I guess, how do you get content that is unique to you as an artist? So I think that, you know, the concept of a brand is interesting. So like for me personally, branding is one of the most fun things to do, because it's like almost like you have the box, right, of a puzzle, but all the pieces inside of the puzzle piece have to match in some sort of weird way, shape, and form, that it makes it fun trying to figure out how to make things connect and fit. So whenever the content part of the branding kind of conversation comes into play, it's kind of like, okay, for every piece of content that comes out, how do we make this fit like the puzzle that we're building out? And so for me personally, the thing that has been really fun to do is like, okay, I want to imagine everything as like found footage or some sort of VHS, sort of like almost textured like thing, right? The aesthetics and all that. So for me, it's like, okay, my passions are finding music, helping out artists, shouting out artists, and also being super, super weird and outrageous. So for me, what I consider content and all the stuff that I'm building is like, okay, what if I had this kind of like series of shouting out artists or my new finds, of being able to use that as my social media post so that way the algorithm keeps pushing my page, but at the same time it's also very creative and artistic, and it has my aesthetics and branding on it, to where I'm doing two things at once. I'm shouting out artists for music that I really, really like or I'm inspired by, while also at the same time satisfying the Instagram gods and whatever gods of social media. You know, other things are being able to use YouTube as another weapon, of being able to post weird videos in the same sort of aesthetics, but more so of messages that I have around X, Y, and Z or whatever. You know, and then also at the same time being able to use that same things to build up to a release or something like that, and then connect that to this bigger picture that I have with my own music, right? Where I think I showed it like last month, but like I guess I could show it right now because I don't care. You have to excuse me, I have not updated it lately. No, I don't want to try your AI. No, I don't want to move things on my setup. Thank you. Okay, excuse me. We're gonna try something out real quick. Display capture, not that one. This one. Okay, it doesn't want to capture it that way. Okay, we'll just do it this way. Okay, swap. Go over here, and then you come over here. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, so we can even shrink this a bit. Okay, so for instance, it would be like, so these are the ideas that I have for like releases and stuff like that, and what I view an era or a layout or something of that nature. And then this would be how I would view what I want to do music wise, and then combine that with social media, and then that way you're kind of building on top of things to still appease all of the things that you need to on all of these different platforms throughout things that you like. And I think that's the thing that also I have to turn this down because I cannot think with this. I think that in today's world that there's been this thing that you don't shout out other artists, and I don't know why that's a thing, because I think that's really lame. So I think that incorporating things that you enjoy, whether it's again curation, I think that's going to be one of the biggest things in this next sort of like creator space. I think that playlists are going to be the first stepping stone, right? That's where we're at now. But I think artists are going to be that next stepping stone for people going to trusted outlets. I think the more that Spotify keeps playing around with this AI generated playlist, where some people are really going to enjoy it. Like me personally, I don't use Spotify whatsoever, but I really enjoy the way that YouTube music functions and how many amazing new artists that I've found off of YouTube. So I think that the curation side is a way that you can say, okay, if we know that curation is going to be like this future meta, then content wise, we can start building out content based off of curation. When you think shouting out, are you thinking up and coming? I'm thinking of anything. I'm thinking about anything, because I think that the way that you can spin it, right, is there's two ways to kind of play it out. You can play it out as in, okay, I want to post something and I want to try to get a repost by a bigger artist, right? That's typically why a lot of people tag all these like, big artists in hopes that, oh, if they repost me, that'll be like so cool to get eyes on me, right? But I think that if you do it in a way that's more so pure, I think that, because nowadays it's not really about who posts you, it's just about if your post gets shared, it's just more eyes on it, and it hits certain levels that it's like, if you can get shouted at or you can get reposted by different people, right, you're still getting what the whole point is of what your post is, which is just shouting people out. So to go back to the question, because also I'm getting really tired and I'm crashing from my caffeine now. I think for me personally, you could do it in 3 different ways, or 3 different categories of like large artists, up and comers, or just things that you like. And I think the more authentic side of me would just be more so like things that I like. Because again, I have my Bandcamp to where I'm following like, I don't even know how many artists and labels. That to me is how I get all of my curation, or all the new music that's coming out. Also, shout out to Hate on YouTube. That also is another form of things that I like. So to me, I don't really even look at people's social media, because I don't really use social media outside of just reading posts. I don't actually look at numbers. I don't look at anything like that. That's just not my thing. So for me, it's just like, if I find it, I'm not even gonna fake. I wouldn't even know if they would be up and coming or not. It's just if I like the song. If I like the music, I like the music. Obviously there's going to be some names that, for me, if there's Perk, I know who Perk is. Perk is, a very, very, very large producer DJ guy, right? But Alignment would be another one. Charlotte DeWitt would be another one. But again, it's just more so a passion thing that I think it would be good if I got bigger to start incorporating that into it, and maybe that should be something that as a behavior I should do. But I think at the end of the day, it's just being authentic. Like, I want to do things that I enjoy, and if that means like, I have to myself personally need to start looking at up and comers, then that would be something that I would need to do. But just out of pure passion, I like, and I kind of got the idea from Kojima, because he would just post like things that he was listening to, like. And it's also kind of funny, kind of like in boomer sense, because he would just take a picture of his like iPod and just take a picture of it and then post it. Or not his iPod, it was like the Sony media player, and he would just take a picture of it and just post it. And I'm just like, that's so sick that Kojima is just posting things that he likes, and either giving people that have never heard of him, obviously this big spotlight. But at the end of the day, it just comes down to what do you like? What do you fuck with? What do you, as a person, more so an artist, what do you like? And I think that if you can find a way to blend that, it just makes you so much more authentic, that it's not just like a big music brand business coming in to do like music brand business, you know what I mean? And I think also just in today's world, I think just community is such a big point that, and especially how I opened up today with this stream, is just like, there's such a big disconnect from like the big top people to the bottom, or even the middle people to the bottom, that like, I just think that just needs to be done more. Like, it's the same take that I have with label and festivals and all that stuff, but I don't, I know why people don't shout out artists. I just think that it's dumb and it's dated and it should stop, personally. So, but again, I think content is whatever you make it, and if you dread content, then the content's gonna suck. But if you change your outlook to the content being, it's something that I'm super interested in, or it's something that I view myself, let's just say business-wise, something that I would love to get a brand to partner with or get sponsored by, I think that should be the way that you should think about things. So, yeah, I know that was a very long-winded answer and I went everywhere, but yeah, just do what makes you the most happy, and then just stick to it. You know, the other part of the things that I'm waiting on my stuff to get here is like modules, Eurorack modules, and making videos about those. That's also one of the things that I really want to start getting into. I think also one of the other slept on things is like making interesting things about plugins, right? Like, free idea for anyone. I think it would be really interesting to find a free plugin or a plugin you really, really like, and then do like 5 free presets or something like that. Like, give me your email and I'll give you 5 free presets, right? And I think that if you make it to where it's more so about your art, and because here's the ultimate thing of how and where my brain goes, right? And I need someone to help me answer this question, and I know that I have people watching. What makes a YouTuber a YouTuber? And I know how I guess singular that answer is. I know. But the reason I ask this is like, do I have the song released? I do. I can't play that song. Okay. Since I can't play my own music, but here's why I'm asking this, right? Because I think that, let's just say you make this YouTube series or something along those lines. Does that automatically make you a YouTuber if you make some sort of series on YouTube? And I don't mean like, hey guys, welcome to the channel, like and subscribe. Like, I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about a very cold intro, cold outro. I'm literally just uploading my content to this site. Does that make you a YouTuber? If you do a review of something, does that make you a YouTuber? Like, those are the things that I think about, because I'm like, I find that question to be so interesting. Of like, what does a YouTuber actually entail? Like, streaming is obvious. Like, if you stream online, that kind of makes you a streamer. Got it, cool. But like, if you make YouTube videos and all that stuff, does that make you a YouTuber, or are you a content creator? Which is just a fancy way of saying you do things. But and I think that if you can figure out a way to curb what the quote-unquote YouTuber is, and figure out a way to make it more artistry first than YouTube, quote-unquote, I think you win. I think that that's just a way that you can win a lot of people over, because it's under your umbrella of your brand / artist and all that. And then also the other part is just having a unique flair. Because, like, I'm not gonna, and I know why people do it, and I understand it. I just think it's really, really lame. Of, like, the producers that film themselves, like, listening to their own music and, like, all that stuff. Or, like, fake playing their music, like, on instruments. I just find all that stuff to be, like, it's just, like, Like for me, I like the people that take the visualizer, the visualizers and all that, and then they go in and edit it and like add some cool like color grading to it. And I'm like, see, now that's cool. Like I think that's unique because they're just taking something and they're like repurposing it to where it's more unique looking rather than just sitting there in their studio and just like banger, and then it's like, yeah, my track is out on Spotify, listen to it. Like, bro, no one cares. No one literally cares. Just post that your link is in the bio. Like but I mean, again, I get it. I understand why people do it. Yes, you know exactly where my brain went. I just think that there's just more unique ways to put yourself in front of other people if you take the time to sort of like take a step back and re-visualize like or reimagine what that looks like. Because like, see, another free idea, right? And maybe I might use this, so if you steal my idea, you stole it from me and I will sue you. I'm kidding, I don't care. But I think a really cool, interesting way would be like if you had a CRTV, right? You would actually be able to put like something on the TV with your song, and then that's like another version of like you playing your music as content, right? I'll never forget, and I've never ever been able to re-find this guy, but he actually had this really interesting thing, and this was like years ago, back when I was hardcore on Instagram. But he was a Eurorack guy. But what he did was that it wasn't AI, but it was like, it was like a Vocaloid thing ish, where it would play keys, and it was like an anime girl or anime guy thing on the screen, like a CRTV would like actually sing when it would hit these notes, and it was all generative stuff, but to me, I think that stuff is really cool. Like I think that like putting a spin on things like that is like what makes someone more unique or more tuned in. I'll even show you for an example. I'll show you someone that I actually found yesterday that I was like, this is actually kind of cool. Let me pull this up. Like, I'll give a shout out right now. I don't care. And I know I was trying to wrap up stream, but here we are like an hour later. Okay, it doesn't want to work. Okay, cool. Oh, it just doesn't want to work at all. No? Okay, cool. You got it. You got it, dude. Yeah, I just don't know why things don't work. Okay. Okay, this guy right here, I thought this was so cool. I hope it doesn't play audio, but I don't know what it was, but just this style was super cool. And I was like, let me just dig into it a little bit more, right? And then he was doing stuff like this. It's to me, I find this just so creative as just like quote unquote content. It's just, you know what I mean? It's just like there's people that are making more unique content. And it's just repurposed. Like, I'm not even mad at people remilking their own content or whatever. I think it's smart. If anything, it's just smart to redo it. But it's like, you know, again, it's just, it's how you look at things. It's how you. Okay, you got your shout out. And also this guy's page is Sharkwork. Sharkwork, or at sharkwork.tk2k69. Nice. But again, it's just how you view what content is and how to like make it cool. That's what I think more artists need to dive into, because social media is not going to change. They're going to want a quota from every single person that uses their platform to get pushed. They're going to have better AI systems to analyze your content, to know that you're trying to sell things, and then block it. So that way you have to pay them to get people to see your content. You know, so I think those are the uphill battles that people are going to be facing, whether they realize it or not, that you just need to be more creative. And you need to find better funnels back to your own thing that you can own and control, so that way it doesn't get pulled underneath you whenever, you know, they decide to change their TOS or they change their whole business structure and you lose everything. So with that, is there any other thoughts? Because I do love that. I love this kind of conversation. So any other thoughts, any other things that you're just like, you know, questions, vibes, or whatever? I didn't even realize it's 11:30. Check that out. I still have sushi I have to eat. I only ate like 3 pieces of it and a crab leg, and that was it. But I also, I mean, I don't want to say that. I just want to say I did find out something super cool. I said in my server, but I'm super, super ecstatic about that. Don't play with Louisiana, man. We have some pretty insane creatives here. That's all I gotta say. That is all I gotta say. Checking anywhere else. Any other fun things on the interwebs? I don't see anything interesting, so. Yeah, Louisiana, man. Don't sleep. And also, I've looked at this too long. I'm just gonna buy it right now. There's a cool dithering program that there's 2 of them. One is by Studio Album. What is it? Studio AAA. It's called Dither Boy. And I just think that dithering is super cool. So, also I have to use the bathroom. So, all this coffee and water is totally not good. So, let me end on something good. I'll do Fade. I don't remember this song. So, with that, I'm gonna tap out. I am extremely shocked that we got to 3 hours, but super grateful for all of y'all hanging out, chilling out, watching me try to make some music that may or may not ever come out. Who knows? But, you know, with that, thank you for hanging out, chilling out, vibing. If you are so inclined to hang out even more, if you hit the ! Discord, it will send you a link to the Discord, House of Doll, where we talk about so many things: business, art, music, all that kinds of stuff. So if you are so inclined, please do that. And as always, it's been a pleasure of mine to hang out. And until the next stream, I shall see you guys later. So let me do this. Let me click that. And yeah, see ya. Bye. Cool.